to the Sad Dads Club podcast. Here's everybody's favorite sad dads, Jim and Foo.
That's the saddest dad sigh I've ever heard.
Man.
Cue sadness now.
I mean, I had, it's like, God damn, man. It was one of those days. I mean, up until about half an hour ago, I was like, no.
No, as in regards to what?
Like, call him and just be like,
we're not going tonight.
I know.
This is your therapy. Don't, you know.
Because, hey.
How's it going?
Welcome to Sad Dads Club podcast, episode 238. Because once I start going, I won't remember the number. It'll just be another like, hey, the episode, the fuck, I forgot. I'm the Lord Foo. Or we'll be 30 minutes into it, and I'll be like, hey, welcome to Sad Dads Club podcast. So anyway, I was wiping my ass.
Well,
so
what do you got? I mean, you got a lot?
Well,
is it just something weighing heavy on you?
Tail end of the evening, where did I go? It was I went to the gym.
Yeah. And
like I left the house, and like the dogs apparently were like super needy. Like Venus is like, everybody's whining. The dogs are all whining.
Yeah.
And dogs, you know, dogs have that, like,
they're like 3-year-olds, you know?
Yeah.
They're needy.
But I'm a firm believer that they've got, like, that sense of, like, something, like, they can pick up on stuff. Jax was just being...
What were they picking up on, though?
Well, that's just it. Jax was being, like something's off. Like, you know, there's an earthquake coming or something. Like, they can...
Well,
something like that. Anyway,
I mean, I know I do feel that, but I always think that my dog thinks that I'm taking him to a meat grinder. You know, like he's just like, what the fuck?
Today?
Today's the day I'm gonna be.
Is
ground
this
beef?
it? Is this the end?
Yeah.
Today's the.
And I'm like, bro, it's cool. We're not going to the meat grinder.
It's a walk. We did it fucking yesterday at the same exact time.
That was the conversation we had. Were you there? That was the conversation we had today when he protested 2 houses down the street and decided he wasn't going to go anywhere.
Yeah. Oh.
And I had to pick him up by the harness, like with his leash, so his front legs were off the ground, and then make him like waddle with his back legs, like about a house, the distance of a house. And then finally he was like, okay, no, I'm going. It's cool. I'm good. And I'm like, bro, I'm not. You're with me. You think I'm going to let something happen to you?
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah.
Like the last couple days, is it by chance?
No, the last couple days he's been really good.
Yeah.
Today was just. Like I hadn't had him do that in probably a year.
So yesterday, both the dogs were doing like off. Something was off.
Yeah.
And you know, when you have like the specter of Shiny having seizures and Jax, whatever his stuff is, you're like I'm
heightened awareness.
Yes. So when a dog comes in. And especially Shiny, she's notorious for it. Like, does the nudge under my arm. I'm like, are you here because you need a comfort moment because you just had a fucking seizure outside and you need a center? Mm-hmm. Or are you just being a needy bitch?
Mm-hmm.
Pit me now.
But I think neediness is the dog's MO typically. Well, that's the normal.
Certainly for Shiny. Yeah. But now when you have these other things hanging over, it's like, well... You know, what's the read here? Anyway, so I left for the gym to come back, and Venus is like, dogs are super weird. Like, she's whining. Jax is like, wants to be up in the business or is like, you know, laying down on top of it. And I'm like, that's okay, weird. So we like go to bed, and Shiny, we pass out relatively fast, but Shiny is clearly uncomfortable or unsettled. Like she is getting up, moves around, does like the dog donut, like she's nesting, and then lays back down, and then will like the inch adjust, and then she'll be like 5, 10, 30 seconds, and then like another like adjustment, like I'm just not comfortable, like a Princess and the Pea kind of thing. Like something's not right here.
Maybe she was just gassy.
And who the fuck? But that progressed until eventually, like, Venus fucking straight up passes out, and then Shiny continues to like get up, get down, and I'm not settled into sleep yet, so it's like irritating. It's starting to get irritating. Okay, something's not right.
Yeah.
Then she proceeds to like, okay, I'll get under the blanket, and then like, okay, something that's definitely not normal,
right?
Like, what's going on? And sometimes, especially when Armageddon was still around, the dogs would do that when one dog was in the other dog's spot, and it was like, you're in my shit, and now I'm uncomfortable at it. But Jax was at my feet, you know, not in her spot, and she was in her spot. So then I'm like, okay, is this a precursor to you like being confused or disoriented because you're about to have an event kind of thing? So now it's over. Like me getting sleep, it's fucking over. And she like calms down, but then proceeds to like go into these cycles where she's my wife is still continued to like stay passed out for a bit until about 1, where I like turn the lights on. I'm like, something's not right. She's like, what? I'm like, she wasn't then getting off the bed. Like she was apprehensive to do anything but like move around on the bed. I'm like, something's not right. So she's either nervous about him and he's going to have something. And that whole thing was like setting Jax off. Then Jax was like not laying down and going into sleep either, because
he's now aware.
She's aware. Now, having dogs in the country, like when, you know, hopefully you've never seen this, but when we had one dog, when I was a teenager up at Dad's, we had one dog have a seizure, and the other 2 dogs attacked it.
Oh.
Like, weakness, this isn't right. The other 2 dogs, like, nope.
Pounced.
Nope. Yeah.
That's wild.
And it was like,
no.
One, as a teenager, like, it was a net new.
Right.
I hadn't seen a dog have a seizure before, so it was like, oh, scary. And then the other 2 dogs, when everyone's like homies, the other 2 dogs like flipped a switch, and it was like, this is bad, and they attack. So then now I'm like trying to pull collars off, like, I've never seen this either. I've seen the dogs attack snakes, porcupines, raccoons, but not this type of like,
I wonder if it was like that's not you. That you're someone else.
Right.
Yeah, who knows?
Who knows?
Yeah, that's
but
weird.
It was like, so I've seen some of this behavior, like the dogs can sense that something's not wrong within their own thing, but as well as like people. So now I'm super anxious. Jax is definitely not happy. Shiny is, something's off. I thought maybe perhaps it was because Jax was too close to me or something. So I went out to the couch. Now we're pressing 2 a.m. I go out to the couch. Jax comes with me. So I'm like, maybe it's that she needs more room to get comfortable on the bed. So it's near 2. I'm out on the couch. I've got my phone, kind of just waiting to see if I can continue to hear whining, or Venus comes out and says it's not working. About half an hour later, Venus is like, "Where are you?" It's not helping. I'm like, okay, well, fuck. There goes that one. Damn it. So walk back in, but she's still apprehensive about getting off the bed, because then I think she thinks she's in trouble, or it was hard to gauge. I'm like, all the lights start coming on. I'm like, come on, you want to go outside? You want to go outside? And And at that moment, having dealt with Armageddon...
To the sausage factory.
Right. Yeah. You want to go? Sausage-nating? Having dealt with Armageddon and seeing the couple dogs have seizures, I'm trying to gauge whether or not she's, like, lost... she's
balance,
paralysis in some, or coordination in some form or fashion, and maybe she can't see. Like, so we're like on the bed, like waving at like her kind of peripheries to see if maybe she just
notices or not.
Yeah, she's just started to go blind, and it's reached a point where she no longer can see, and that's causing an issue, or she can't hear. She's responding. I'm moving around. As soon as I leave the room, she's looking without me saying anything. Okay, so her eyesight seems to be okay, and she can still hear us. She's not panting, slobbering, anything, but she's clearly
unsettled
and whining. Like, and she won't come off the bed, but she's doing like the
sounds like a sex dungeon.
Yeah, I know.
Unsettled and whining and...
Right. Get out the cat and nine tails and let's solve this the hard way. Hashtag Ulanzi.
What?
Not a sponsor. So I'm like, okay, I can't coax her off the bed. I'm like, well, here, I'll pull out the I win card. I come down the hallway, I grab leash, and the jingling of the fucking leash off the bed.
Right away. No problem.
Doesn't miss a beat, nothing. As she walks down the hallway, and it is like I wound back the clock 10 years. She was like quickie puppy movements, like outside. We going, this motherfucker, it's 2:30 in the morning.
Hey, you grabbed the leash.
I know, but I got it. That was fucking the I win card.
And then you got to go around the block?
Right. Yeah. So then I'm like, okay, so I'm trying to get her to like come into the kitchen, to the back door at least, and get like can I get an eyeball on if she's like leaning to one side, or she has like a head cock to one side and is pulling and can't turn her head. Everything is normal. And as soon as I turn around and kind of like give myself a moment to like, okay, she turns around and she comes back to the garage door like, fucking let's go. We're going for a walk.
You grabbed the leash, motherfucker.
God damn it.
You started it.
So I put on my shoes. I'm like, okay, well, now we're going to see. I open up the garage door, hook the leash on. We start walking, and everything needs to be sniffed. We get the next house down, pisses on the line. Okay, so she has bowel movement. Good to go there. We walk all the way down to the stop sign. I'm like, well, fucking, it's fucking 3. We're done.
We're not making this a fucking habit.
Yeah, I'm like, this is a hell of a way for me to. No, you dirty. The hell of a way for me to get extra
Mind
steps.
your own business, bitch.
Yeah, you fucking Tim Apple. I don't need your help. Well, a hell of a way to get extra steps in. Like,
next time she chimes in, you got to bring it up. So we can.
Oh, to hear her trying to.
Yeah.
And yeah, I did something anyway. So we make a big loop.
Yeah.
Yeah, walked around the court. We walk back, and the whole time, I don't know what Jax is doing, but Jax is like, fuck yeah, let's go.
Oh, it's walk time?
No, yeah, well, shit, if she goes, then I get to go. I'm like, hell no.
Here, take these sleeping pills.
Yeah. God damn, we're all out of the fucking gummy. Anyway. So I get back in here, and Venus, I'm like, she looks fucking fine. I'm like, the best guess... She ate something, and it's like an upset stomach, and like sitting and curling, just
laying on it.
That's my best guess because coordination. She had no event, and then we get back. So then she drinks. So we get back into the house. She's like, sweet, nice. I'm like. Okay, so let's see if she'll drink or eat. She walks to the water bowl, water bowl, looks at her kibble for a bit, like grabs like 1 or 2 things of kibble. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? It is 3 a.m. What is this?
Maybe her watch died.
Clearly.
She doesn't know what time it is.
So then, I'm full because I went out for a walk. So I'm like sweats, shoes, socks, a hoodie, the extra shirt.
My brain's going a million miles an hour.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, it's over.
Yeah.
So Venus we crawl back into bed. She gets on bed. I'm not under any cover because now I'm fully clothed. Like, well, at any moment in time, I'm going for another walk.
Probably.
To keep her busy and stop whining. But, the sleep from 3 to 6:30 and change is she moves and I'm like, what?
Oh, yeah.
What?
Hyper aware now.
And then because that happens, Jax is now, he sleeps on me. For him, there's another. So I have Shiny in my armpit, right-hand side.
Yeah.
And Jax is, now I tried to take one of our longer pillows, like a body pillow.
I just want to say that Jax is huge. Shiny is not small.
Yeah, Jax is 78 pounds.
Shiny is larger than medium size.
Yes.
And Jax is ginormous.
Yes. So,
yeah.
I've started the last couple of years or so, trying to strategically place body pillows to keep him from
gate him away a bit,
sleeping between my nuts or on my nuts. I'll put a body pillow in the anyway. So I in apprehension. I'm at a loss for words. In trying to prepare for needing to get up again.
Preparation.
Preparation for needing for my anus. Needing to get up again.
Yeah.
I kind of little heat warmer with the body pillow between my legs. But
birds.
Birds, turds, nipples. It's hard. It's
speaking.
It's caffeine and not a lot of sleep at this point. So
was this last night?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like I said.
Oh, that's why. That's why the dishevelment that's right now. Yeah.
We're lucky. I mean, fucking AJA, all the cameras are working.
Half this shit actually works.
Yeah. I forgot only one thing. It's, and we're recording everywhere, so at least we got that. So, and also I'm trying to sleep towards the end of my side of the bed, because if he has room, he then will curl up underneath my other arm, and then it's
yeah.
So even though I'm on the edge, he decides, but that's where I want to be.
That's where I need to be.
And I need security right now because this is scurry.
There's been some weird shit going on tonight.
You took her for a walk, but you didn't take me for whoa. Is that a thong? Can I eat that? That looks good. Is that a tissue? I should eat that. That looks like a snack. And he proceeds to... we're talking a palm width is left between my arm and the end of the bed.
Yeah.
And he tiny dancers himself along this strip and is looking at me like a canine gargoyle.
It's the Olympic beam.
Yeah. Hey, man. Are you going to move at all? Because I'd like to go to bed here.
There's 3 inches of bed there I could lay
right.
on.
And I'm looking up at him really? Down there. And then Venus is Jace, lay down. And he's just looking at him fine. And I kind of I give him 2 more inches.
Yeah.
And he makes it work.
He's yeah, I'm
his
right
upper torso laying across mine now I feel safe, Daddy. Hey, is that it? Can I eat that? That looks like a good snack right now. I should...
Jesus.
hey, man, is this hard to sleep if I'm breathing like right in your face? Hey, I would like to lick your... And that's how I spent like from 3 to 6 a.m. Like,
yeah. That sounds great.
It's fucking fantastic. So, and then everyone gets up. Everyone goes about the rest of the day.
And you're just dragging ass.
And like work goes sideways somewhere about 8:30 or so. Venus like checks in like a responsible adult, would.
Yeah.
And she's like, I'm like, she's fucking sleeping. And Venus is like, figures. I'm like, right?
Go wake her up.
Yeah. Like I should just go wake her up and be like,
lay on top of her.
Hey, man.
Drink water in her ear.
What's up?
Just whine at her.
Do you not want me to pet your paws? Is that annoying? Hey, are you sleeping? Hey. Anyway, hey. Just
yeah. Yeah.
Her day was like normal. She behaved like any other day. There was no whining. There was no nothing. But that didn't matter to me because I'm on 12 of when's shit gonna pop off.
Mm-hmm.
And like,
yeah,
I'm just trying to. And then, well, I love my wife.
Obviously.
Yeah. But I'm pegged with work till 5:30. Like work is running long. Like everything is going long. Everything is running sideways. And Piper comes home. So there's extra kids here. And I'm literally like, no, send the email. And I went, normally I would go for my walk, buy a lottery ticket, come back. Like that's my I'm trying to my detox, but it's not always happening. But I'm like, I'm pegged. Like everything is firing on 12. I'm like, I need a moment to just center. So I go outside, phone, and take my glasses off. I'm just laying on my walkway. There's still a little bit of sun.
Okay.
So I am just laying on the patio
planks.
Yeah, on the planks on the way to the we have a dog bed a black Kong dog bed that gets nice and warm for the dogs to like sun themselves. I'm like, I know how this is going to go. I'm going to go out. If I get on the floor, the dogs come to me like I'm a black hole. Yeah. Like they just aggregate. So I go outside. There's a little bit of sun left. The dog bed is still nice and warm. So I'm laying in a position where my legs are just kind of going around the dog bed because I know the dogs are going to lay on it. And they'll lay. So I pull my hoodie up over my eyes. The sun is still on my face. Take my glasses off, my phone off, put my phone on silent, and I'm like, I just need 5 minutes. Yeah. I just need to not do anything. Bling bling, bling bling. It's. I'm not looking at the time, but it's Venus will call on her way home.
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
Absolutely not, lady. It's not her fault. It's not her fault. But the timing, Venus calls and checks in on her way home. Like, I'm on my way home. And you need anything? I'm running errands. I'll be blah, 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 blah. She had a meeting to go to. But I just immediately decline it because I don't need to answer a phone. I just need.
And then she calls right back.
It's like 30 seconds. And she calls back. And I'm like,
that wasn't 5 minutes.
I didn't make it 5 minutes. And I hit decline again or whatever, the ignore or whatever it is on the watch.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, chime, text message.
You motherfucker.
I'm like, I'm not looking. I just. I'm going to start back over. 1, 2.
Good luck.
Chime. Look at my watch. It's a picture. 1.
Why does she keep doing that?
2. Chime. It's over. I missed opportunity. She's like, well, no one's answering. Look, she tried to call Piper in between. Piper didn't answer her phone. Piper was probably busy doing homework. And it was just like,
had the dog showed up?
What?
At that point,
the dogs were like,
they were there.
Honestly, there's a separation anxiety. Like and that's why it was like hard to make the early read last night when I left the gym. You know, it was like, oh, the dogs were whining because I disappeared.
Because I left?
Right. Yeah. Or is it because they're sensing some sort of issue in their snowball? She was, anyway, she was fine all day. But, Well.
I don't know. I do have an update.
Oh, hey.
I have an update on the Cadillac.
Update.
We haven't talked about on the show yet. Because it happened after the show last week. Yeah. I think it was Thursday. I got a call from the shop, and they told me that they have basically figured out what the problem is.
Okay.
I think we talked about this, that there was water intrusion in one of the harness connectors.
Right.
Well, what they found was that connector actually was cracked. Mm-hmm. So water was getting inside the wiring and the connectors. Mm-hmm. So even though they had cleaned up the connectors real good, they had corrosion on them.
Yep.
And they had plugged the harness back together, the car would run great, but throw these random check engine lights.
Gremlins.
Yeah. So what they figured out was the corrosion that they cleaned up wasn't just in the harness or in the connector. It had traveled into the wires. Mm-hmm. So they had to replace the wiring harness that I believe feeds from the ECU out to the
engine bay.
Yeah, the ECU sits under the headlight, and it feeds from there out to the injectors, all the sensors, all that shit.
It's a spider.
Yeah, it's a pretty big harness, actually.
That's what she said.
I found out it's like a normal non-sale price is almost $700 for that.
That checks out. That makes sense. Because I think like I said, like a quick eBay thing, like used $300, and like the used ones, even at $300, like some of the connectors looked cracked and busted. I'm like, can you imagine if you're selling a used one with cracked plugs?
Yeah.
How much
is the problem?
And I couldn't find a new one. So, but $300 for used, $700 plus for new checks out.
Well, there's, I don't know if you've tried to purchase like OEM parts for your vehicles anywhere, but there are like GMpartsonline.com or HondaParts.com or whatever.
Yeah.
So all the manufacturers, like some dealers have their own stores.
I don't know. Well, I haven't.
And sometimes they'll price things pretty good, but the real problem is that they charge crazy amounts for shipping. So you'll find a part that it's only $3. Cool. And then you throw it in the cart and then go to checkout and find out that the shipping's $16.
Oh, yes.
For a $3 part. You're just like, fuck that. That's $20 for that thing.
Right.
And then you call the local dealer and they've got it for $12. And you're like, yeah, I'll pay the $12 instead of the $20. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the GM Parts Online, I think, and they have like schematics, or not schematics, but pictures of the stuff. And so I found what I believe is the harness that they are replacing on the GMPartsOnline.com website. And it was like $690 or something. But they had it on sale. They actually had it on sale for It was like,
chances are you're going to need one of these, and we've got a sale.
I think it was 30% off or something.
Oh, well, that's not bad.
Yeah. I don't think that's what I'm getting charged for mine.
Yes.
Right? They didn't buy it from GM Parts online, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So that was the positive. I'm really looking at that as a positive. So that tells me that some of the weird problems that I've had are probably related to this connectivity issue.
Right.
And that's going to be replaced with the warranty. And of course, the warranty company is, labor rate, and that's too much for that part, and blah, blah, blah. And so the shop has kind of just said, look, we're going to eat the cost difference. Mm-hmm. You're just going to pay your $100 deductible, and that's it. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, cool. So I'm happy about that because I think I paid for an ECU that I didn't need.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's sort of a trade-off. But on the other hand, I got a new ECU.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I think.
And an injector, which probably also wasn't bad.
Right.
So
yeah.
So yeah, update. Now the negative part of this
and a rocker. Although that was
actually broken.
Yeah.
The negative part of this phone call was that the wiring harness that they ordered wouldn't be here for 7 to 10 days. So it would be another week and a half probably before I probably see my car. And so that was last Thursday. So we're a week into that now, almost a week because it's Wednesday. So maybe next week I'll get my car. Maybe,
Maybe.
Melanie comes home again. And it's been 3 weeks since she left. And
oh, wow.
Yeah. And I will not have had my car. So, yeah. Interesting.
Did we talk about the cake last week?
Oh, I don't think we did. So
are you sure?
I don't think did we? I don't even remember. Last week, we thought I was going to have my car.
Right.
Because they kept telling me, it'll be ready tomorrow. It'll be ready tomorrow. We need one more day. Well, that turned into, no, it's...
Right.
And so, but you didn't know that.
Right.
And I didn't say anything because I think it happened last minute or something anyway. So I show up here, and what I thought was funny is your car was gone. And I was like, oh, that's kind of strange. He must have had to go somewhere and do something. I don't know. Whatever.
Right.
And then you show up... And you get out of the car and you had gone to the store and you had bought some stuff.
Right.
But part of what you had bought also was a giant hunk of cake.
Yes.
That was like party cake.
Yeah, it was like a birthday square of a sheet cake.
Like a white cake with white frosting, which honestly is my favorite.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. And I was like, oh. And you were telling me, this is for... Where's your car?
It was a welcome home fucking joke. And I was going to be like, welcome home, Caddy.
Yeah, where's your car?
And you were like, your wife was just on the
that's right.
series of pulling out. Uh-huh. And you were like,
no,
sad, putting the thing, plugging stuff in. And I went,
oh, shit. We laughed about that.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to. Anyway, so the cake.
Yeah, what happened with the cake?
It sat there for until Sunday, I think.
Yeah.
I was busy doing something, and I was yard work, and I came in at some point, and it was half gone.
Oh.
And I went.
Someone
finally.
That has sat there too long.
I didn't want the cake.
Oh yeah.
I didn't need the cake.
Right.
The cake was for you, and it was really
as a joke.
It was a prop. I had no intention of eating the cake. I was gonna be like, here you go, fucking take the cake. I'm not gonna eat it.
Congratulations.
Yeah, here you go.
Yeah.
Fucking haha.
Yeah.
Anyway. Piper ended up hitting it. Yeah. And I was like, sweet.
Awesome.
It was, and my dad had stopped by at some point on Friday, and he was like,
what's with this cake?
What's the cake for? And I went, well... And now,
well, you see,
and he's invested.
Oh.
He's not listening to the show, but he's like, "So, what's up with your friend's Caddy?" And I'm like, "Well, Dad,
yeah,
suppose that's what the cake's for." And he's like, "Oh yeah." So anyway,
yeah. So
the cake finally got eaten, but I don't think anyone really. I mean, Venus knew.
Yeah,
Piper was like, "I'm like,
thanks for the cake.
Please eat the cake because." Yeah, I would feel bad eating the bad joke. at this point.
I mean, I was honestly like, damn, I could have eaten that cake, but yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't meant to be.
You got to save it for.
And now I have a question.
Okay.
Do you, when you go to your dentist and get your teeth cleaned, and I'm assuming you do, I mean, they're covered in green shit, but whatever.
Right.
But when you get your teeth cleaned at the dentist, are they having conversations with you while they're scraping the shit off your teeth and like cleaning?
I have had both. Yeah. I have had
the silent, just I'm going for it,
doing the business, and then I've had the conversation that I have had with them, like the hygienist in prior. They at least kept it to like understanding the simple answers.
Right. Now, I will say this, because I went and had my teeth cleaned, I think it was Tuesday afternoon, and the lady that cleaned my teeth, she's really nice. But we got into some pretty heavy conversation. I learned that she smoked weed in high school just because of peer pressure. But anyways.
You're like, oh.
But she was really good, because she's not the person that normally cleans my teeth, because I had to cancel my appointment and reschedule it. But she was really good at like having a conversation and then like giving a lift and letting you talk.
Oh,
it was pretty cool.
She had talent.
Yeah, it was
allowing the conversation to take place in an awkward situation.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm still, and then she would like kind of finish, and then I'd be like, and then she would lift up, and then we would talk, and then she would.
Anyway, going back in, Tiger.
Yeah.
Here we go.
All right, here's the.
It's funny you mention it, because my dad's dentist, who was all of us kids' dentist, all the way through like Clear Creek, Bear River. So until we graduated high school, Dr. Takioka out of Grass Valley, Nevada City, is still my dad's dentist.
Oh,
that gentleman is a baseball fanatic. And
so now we know how your dad and him get along.
Right. So, and my dad is an umpire, has been an umpire for 20-something years at this point. My dad will say it's extremely awkward, because all the Dr. Takioka wants to do is talk about baseball and baseball rules and regulations with my dad, who is a subject matter expert.
Yeah.
On that thing, and about the kids and what they're learning and stuff like that, while he is fist deep in my dad's jaw.
Grill,
and without giving him and it's a big joke with my dad, because he's like, he'll be asking me about like a 3 runs, and I'm like looking at him cross-eyed, like, what the fuck do you want me to do? Like, how am I supposed? He's asking me about rules.
How am I going to reply?
And I'm like,
suction, please. Water.
Yeah. He's like, I love the man, but he is absolutely terrible about trying to have a full-blown conversation with me while he's knuckles deep in my jaw.
I was impressed. I mean, she had it, man, and we were having actual conversation. It was kind of nice to actually be able to respond to her, and like she would like get out of the way and let me talk, and then go back in and keep working.
That was
kind of
nice.
cool. Now, I will say this: I do not like. There's a textural issue that I have with the polishing.
Really?
The grit of the polish and the frequency of the little motorized air-driven polisher, the frequency that it has when it's turning, and sometimes it'll tickle your lip or whatever.
Yeah.
And then the grit getting in between my teeth and shit.
Yeah.
Oh, it hardcore makes me want to fucking gag.
Really?
Oh, this is one of the few. I'm dead serious, because I'll be like, I'm like,
I need a moment.
Oh my! Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, I don't have very many of those. That is probably my one big one for me.
Really?
And I have to tell them, the polish, can you rinse, like do a quarter of one side, just like the front quarter.
Yeah.
For like half of the front.
Because otherwise you're catching some shit. You're catching lunch if you don't give me a break in between.
Yeah. And I talked to my wife about it. She's like, no, I really like the polish. And I'm like, I want my teeth polished. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
Just
something about your nerves and how that thing works at the frequency in which it does.
And the grit of the polish is the sensory overload for me is tremendous.
Wow.
I don't know how else to explain it.
That to wrap up the neti pot thing. Venus had caught up in the show we were talking about it.
Yeah.
And it's an absolute no for her.
Oh, she won't do it.
And like listening to her like talk about, she's like, and I cannot even watch you. And she's like the thought of doing the rinse is enough to bring her into like a small dry heave. And she won't. So she's like, absolutely not.
Yeah.
She's like, and she is fully aware of the benefit.
Right.
Wants nothing to fucking do with it at all.
That's a similar thing with my wife with the neti pot thing, because I kept telling her, because she was having issues, and I'm like, you should just try it. Like give it like once or twice. Like maybe 2 days in a row. Just try it. It will help you tremendously. And she was like, and I thought I had her come around to like the idea of it. Okay.
Yeah.
And then so she had done a bunch of research, and instead of buying or getting a thing like I have, which is the Neomed solution, she just got like a nasal saline spray. Mm-hmm. Which isn't the same thing at all.
Right.
But I was like, I mean, you're not really rinsing with that. But I mean, hey, that's
right.
And, but she also, when I am doing that in the bathroom, she can't be in the bathroom.
Oh, yeah. Venus is nowhere near.
It's all.
And we were talking, Xander had just left the table and Piper was still there. And we were talking about it in general, like how it makes her gag. And Piper, we had asked Piper, because I think we mentioned it on the show, like, I don't think the kids have. Venus asked Piper, and Piper was like, no. And they're both talking about, like, and every once in a while I see one of those things, like, fucking on her TikTok or Instagram feed, and she's like, and some person is, like, rinsing out, and, like, this nasty shit's coming out the air. I'm like, I don't think I've ever seen, like, some sort of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle shit oozing out the other side. But I'm not saying, and then both of them then go, yeah, I would rather watch the pimple popping episodes and like the guys that are just full blown like and like taking cyst squirts to the face, and that it like the whole thing spun off into the like the pimple popping blackheads. Like, how do you let that thing go that far on your face? Like, get some help.
Now, I will say this: I've had some congestion come out. Right. And see it flow out. Over the weekend, I did a bunch of yard work, and one of that yard work bit was trimming some bushes that had started to get out of control.
Yeah.
And the cleanup of that bush is difficult because the leaves on the bush are little tiny guys. Mm-hmm. So I just got my yard vac out and I sucked it up, and that blows it into this bag, and then when you empty the bag it's very dusty, right?
Yeah.
And when I got into the house after I had finished that job, first of all, that dust really affected me, right?
Oh yeah.
I was blowing black shit out of my nose.
Oh, yes.
It was so disgusting.
I believe that.
And I thought, man, this would be a good time. But then I didn't want to push it up and then back out.
Right.
I just wanted to blow it out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is this gross talking about this?
I don't,
feels like
someone may gag.
I mean, we've talked about some gross stuff. I mean, you were talking about pooping at length.
Mud butt.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you had the story just recently about pooping. But anyway, I was fascinated about how much shit got trapped in my nose, and it was black when it came out.
Yeah. I'm all about wearing masks now at this point. Oh. Like, I remember, like, the amount of shit that I had done as a kid with hay fever, allergies.
Yeah.
On 10 acres with a weed eater or mower without a bag. Like, I've probably inhaled whole fields
an acre
of yeah, it's stupid. Now I'm like, man, I don't know, man. I'd like to see 90, and I'd like to have my own lungs along the way. I'm like, it's like wearing eye protection when I'm doing shit in the garage or working on the car. I'm like, man.
No, like, safety squints.
Yeah, I don't mind. I don't mind.
Safety squints. Yeah, they're just as good. Yeah.
I have really big eyelashes. They'll catch that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the things I was thinking about when I had all this black shit coming out of my nose was, now you can, just seeing how much stuff came out was like, now you can sort of get how much garbage ends up in your lungs from like smoking or if you're in like a fucking coal mine and you get the black lung, you know what I mean? Like
it's clear. You can't see it, but it's...
I mean, the dust was very heavy, but I mean, I didn't realize how much I was inhaling, right? That's what's creepy about it.
Yeah.
And some of that shit that these people have to deal with on their day-to-day jobs or whatever it is, superfine particles or stuff that you just can't even see that's just in the air that they just suck up and they don't even know it's going
right
in there.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't show up in their nose blowout with a Kleenex.
I feel fine.
Yeah.
Like 5 years later.
I got the black lung.
I'm a lunger.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Whew.
Anyway. So, Anyway, I had an update on the Cadillac. Woo!
Hey.
I might have a car next week. We'll see. We might.
For me, last, I think it was Thursday, my dad reached out to me and he's like, hey, what are you doing tomorrow?
Got that impact?
Yes.
No, I'm kidding.
Oh.
That's what he was saying.
Yes. And then I'm like, where's this going to go? He's like, hey, I need you to come up and help me with the NID stuff.
Yeah.
So if you're in the Northern California area, they have like a community, like a water service, kind of like us schlepping water to SoCal. There's like a county water service that you can buy.
What does NID stand for?
Nevada Irrigation District.
There you go. So they take water from like a lake up there.
It comes out of multiple reservoirs.
Yeah, and it gets literally sent down little channels that they've dug.
Yeah,
all over the fucking county and stuff.
And you pay for it. You get you tap into it. It's like a legacy of farm when more farming was happening.
It's like man-made little creeks all over the place.
Yeah, that's what it is. So their community right there in the valley has a main trunk line, and it's seasonal. So when there's water and they start populating the reservoir, you turn your valves on, and then it pumps water into like the infrastructure part. My dad is currently the president, so that's like all the maintenance and stuff is like coordinated, and he's the primary spearhead for that. But he's like, there's a tree from the wind and the excessive rain had fallen on this trap that they use to it's like a filter and a filter, and then that distributes into the main trunk line. He's like, this tree had fallen on the thing. He's like, I need a couple extra hands. I'm like, absolutely.
Chainsaw time.
Like it was Friday, so it's my day off. He's either gonna come down here and shoot the shit, or I go up and we do something that he needs assistance with. I'm like, man, I'm
sure.
I'm an OG, so it's like, sure.
You mean chainsaws are going to be involved?
Yeah, chainsaw. Yeah. Okay, so we get there. This type of work, so it's like it's all handled within the people who are residents of the valley there. The snafu is that how my dad essentially got the committee job, the president, is that the gentleman that had been running it for the last 10 to 15 years or so is 80 plus, and his wife essentially told him, because once it's in season, the maintenance is kind of like a 3 to 4 times a week thing. You got to clean the filters because it's not filtered, so there's sediment. Lines break, valves break.
So it's pretty constant.
It's a constant thing. The gentleman is 80 plus. He's been doing it long enough. He's put in his time, and his wife basically told him, "You need to start relaxing, and you can't be going up and doing all these things anyway."
Right.
So new president. My dad's the president. Well, my dad and his leg is not exactly the most limber either. He's not. While he's willing, he's physically limited in a number of things that just don't make him able to reach really far or lift a lot of weight. It's just not in his body mechanics anymore. The rest of the people in the valley that will do what they call work parties are all the OGs from when I was a kid. These were the parents that were all doing it anyway. The parents from when I was a kid who's left are still the ones doing it. The new residents that have rotated in, Joe, aren't contributing. Or
I'll mention it to him next time I talk to him.
Or they're so young that they're trying to lean on, I'm a busy parent and I don't have time. I've got other priorities. So they're not doing it. And so it's the age bracket of the gentlemen participating are aging out.
Yeah.
And it's a limited population so there's still the same amount of people living in the valley, if not more, but the active participation is not there.
Well, that's one of those things where when they won't realize how important it is when it's all fucked up and there's no one left to do it.
Right. So
and then it's like, now you got to figure it out.
When I had gotten up there, that was one of the first, the gentleman that went with me and my dad to do the main clean out and the trimming. He was, I hadn't seen him in probably 25 something years, but he's been in the valley just as long as I have. Like I used to run through his property to Joe's house all the time. Like, and their house was cool because it was one of those like octagon style, like
yurtish sort of.
Yeah, but big.
Yeah.
And it was always cool because like, whoa, it's a dome.
Yeah.
It was weird.
Yeah.
I asked both him and my dad. I'm like, so I have a question. What happens when you guys can't do this anymore? Because and I posed the same thing to Venus when I went. I'm like, Dad's asking me to go because Dad himself is recognizing that he's on the fringe of not being able to do all the work himself.
Right.
So, yeah, I'll go help. You're sure. But I'm like, there's like this self-realization that the gentlemen who are doing it, it's twilight.
Well, I mean, you're going to help because you're helping your dad. You don't live there.
Right.
The responsibility isn't necessarily yours.
Right.
But that's the thing.
I'm
right?
here to like
the
lift,
folks,
make sure.
Yeah,
right.
The folks that are there need to be stepping up.
I agree. So the question was like, what happens when you guys... we
call you.
Yeah, right. I was essentially staging it for, I kind of understand that as long as Dad's here, I'm here to make sure Dad's
supporting him
is Dad's part of the social contract is upheld. Like as long as I'm here and Dad's here, or Brett, I'm sure Brett is more than capable of if I'm not available, but Dad will always have someone to participate on his behalf. Period.
Right.
It was that you can like a third party service, but it will cost the association more.
Oh yeah.
So that they do these repairs and all the maintenance and the staging and the purchasing and all that stuff in-house is saving them money, but it requires the participation of these residents. And then I think my dad had said something like, the latest thing I'm getting from some of the younger people is that they're parents and they're busy with the kids and whatnot. And I looked at my dad and I went, Dad, you were doing this when I was here. So you did it as a parent.
The thing is like you can find people to do it. Right.
Right.
Until you can't. And then when you can't, you got to pay someone to do it. So the people that are not participating right now are going to get a bill. Right. At some point.
In 2 to 3 years, if no one wants to rotate in to learn how I was picking, it was awesome. I felt I'm 3 years off of, I'm not 50. I'm a grown ass man with an 18-year-old daughter.
Yeah.
And I felt like I was the kid. These guys, like, I'm asking all kinds of questions, and I'm kind of just standing off the side, like letting I'll take directions. What do you want me to do?
The burly dudes are working.
Yeah. Yeah. The dads are doing their thing. Motherfucker, I'm a dad. What the hell? What is it? What? No. But it was in hindsight, on my way home, I'm kind of like, oh, that's
funny.
I didn't realize
you were still playing the role.
I was still the little kid.
Yeah.
But I was asking, like, okay, so because when I was doing it as a kid, I was just like, I'm going to help Dad. I'm doing the work party, and I got a shovel, like dig a hole.
I can't come over and play asteroids with you.
Yeah, I can't stay the night because I got to go with Dad in the work party.
Yeah.
Are you gonna go? Okay, cool. Well, we can throw rocks in the fire and listen to them pop and stuff until we get yelled at. Okay. Let's go up here and explore.
Yeah, you're really helping.
But yeah, See, is that poison oak? Fuck.
It's all over me.
Let's burn it. No. That's bad news.
Let's breathe it.
Yeah. But now I'm asking questions as an adult with like interest in the process. Yeah. Like, it was fascinating. I learned like the distance in which we have to go and properties that we have deeded easements on to get to where the actual trunk is, the NID trunk. I fucking like, man, we are way up here.
How many miles of ditch do they like oversee?
I don't know.
Is it? Several miles.
It's significant. Oh yes, it's a lot. It's
you need to
multiple miles.
Start at the trunk and then walk it with a little
5+ miles.
Yeah.
And it's funny. I asked a number of questions like, okay, so where does this one go though? And Randy, who was Randy, who did it for about the president for about 5 years before the gentleman who did it for 5 or 10 to 15. So he's been the big cojones for a while. He didn't have answers like, well, I don't really know where it goes. Like, I don't know which one that one does. Like, but there were fascinating stories about the origin. So the swath of land that was broken up into 10-acre parcels that makes up the valley was owned by the Elster.
Oh.
He sold off.
So that's where you start to realize where all the names come from.
Yes. Like I know I know the name of the road, and I've seen like Elster's Place as like a road, but it turns out he actually owned everything pretty much on the right and left-hand side of McCourtney, pretty much from a one turn all the way to the top of that hill up past my dad. Like, dude had tons of land.
Yeah.
And
he sold it way too early, though.
Way too early.
Because if he would have just hung on to it for 100 years, he'd have been rich.
Well, who knows?
Well, he was rich back then.
The The trench that was dug from the NID main line and all of the trunks from there was dug by Elster and his construction company in exchange for the labor, like the rights to do the construction. He deeded the community the easements to run the maintenance. So there was a bit of like handshaking there.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm going to do this, but you gotta...
we'll give you the work, but you have to permanently let us travel along these easements to get to here. So he sold more land and deeded more easement in order to get the work to do this stuff.
Well, all of those properties wanted the water, so they were like, fuck yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
And some of the properties at the time in which he dug those trenches didn't want it because they thought, because like Joe lives along the creek, didn't opt. Like, why? I don't need it right here. Well, in
dried up
creek weather, all of a sudden you've got no access to any water at all.
Right.
They're allowed to just straight up pump it out if they want. If the creek is flowing, they can.
Yeah.
So some people closer to the creek flat out opted not to have a drop line from the trunk. And now...
Or you have to do a well.
Now... Right.
Yeah.
And now they want it, but the trunk is the trunk. It's only governed for so much space. They essentially only made
so the allotment is spoken for.
It's it. That's game over. Yeah. Like, can we now you have a lady in the valley that wants to buy property that has an existing dropped from the trunk, so that way she can pipe it to her other properties in the valley.
And they're like, no.
Right. So now that no one likes it.
Right.
But she has managed to
do it.
Oh. She's like, that one's coming up for sale. Buy.
Wow.
Now I have NID. And now I'm going to.
Yeah.
And shoot, whatever. Wow, we are totally at time.
All that historical stuff, like we have that here in Roseville. We have near our house Buljan Middle School, right? And Vincel Brown Elementary. Buljan is a famous name in Roseville. And in fact, my wife worked with Mark Buljan. You know what I mean?
Really?
Yeah, he was a principal at the school she was at.
Oh.
And then Vincel Brown is a dude named Vincel Brown who still lives in Roseville and shows up at stuff. And he's just like probably 80-year-old dude. Still goes and does little things in the community, and everyone knows who he is, and he's a cool dude. I've talked to him.
I've got parks.
And I love that. Yeah, parks. There's all the parks that have these names that we don't know, but they're all people that were essentially, the important people in the community that did stuff. And I just think that shit's fast because you always just hear whatever name it is or whatever, and you're like, what the fuck is that? Yeah. It was a human being at some point that did something for the community, and they named a road after him, or a park, or a school, or whatever.
Yeah,
I love that stuff. I love that stuff. And then you understand up there, like, Elsters,
right?
That makes sense.
Oh man, it was like right here.
Yeah,
God, that's so cool.
Yeah, I love that stuff.
So while we were up working,
yeah,
while I was donating my time,
yeah,
I had parked my car. Down at the bridge.
Yeah.
Just off the road, just a bit.
Okay.
Off the road.
Off which road? Like by near your dad's house?
Right at the bridge.
Near your dad's house?
No, it's down, essentially down by Joe's house.
Oh, okay.
So I'm at the creek.
Okay.
Right at the bridge.
Okay.
The creek has like a overweight bypass that you can drive through the creek if you want to cock the wagon and ford the river kind of thing.
Okay.
I'm off the side.
Okay.
While we're up working on the thing, there was the set of gentlemen, two gentlemen, one of which was the president who's just donating his time at his pace, working on another valve. We go down, they're like, hey, hands on shovels, Caltrans kind of thing, like, how you doing? He's knee deep in a hole. He's like, who did he say? Montana. Montana was down there, down at the bridge. Leaving the note, I was like, who drove the black Ford GT? Like the Anyway, Montana left a note. You got a note on your windshield. And my dad goes, wait, that's my son. And then he's like pointing over, and I'm like, yeah, it's mine. He's like, yeah, he didn't like where you parked. And I went, okay. Like, it wasn't like I was fucking on his. I'm like, I'm off the shoulder in this giant access that's like a road to the bridge, to this ford the river thing. Yeah. I'm like, okay. He's like, and then all the guys are like bitching on, like, if you were up here, you wouldn't have to pull people in to fucking help with the road because and the whole time I'm like, oh God, I don't know what this note says. So we
that's what I want to know.
We get down to the bridge, and I'm like, oh yeah, here we go. All right, what's this? And one, terrible handwriting, sir. It was, you're parked on private property. Next time you'll be towed.
Oh.
His name was Joe Montana.
Oh, interesting.
Right.
Okay.
And then his phone number.
Uh-huh.
So
did you call him?
No.
I would have called him.
So I'm reading this thing. One, I'm not parked on anyone's property.
Right.
And the gentleman that when I parked, because my dad was already Dad and Randy were already down at the bottom at the bridge. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, oh, sweet. Because I was running a little bit late anyway. Mm-hmm. So I was like, I met you right down here. I get out of my car, I put on my boots, and I'm like, I can park right here. And both of them were like, yeah, sure, no big deal. I wasn't blocking anything.
Right.
And I'm really only asking just because I'm the young guy showing up. I
would have asked.
Yeah, I'm just doing it as like pro forma. Like
right.
Neither of them were going to go, you're on Joe's property. You need to move and park on the other side of the shoulder.
Right.
No one was going to say that because no one cares. Plus, I'm there to help. So fuck off. So I'm noodling on this thing, and I'm like, all right. So I got to meet Dad up at the house. We exchanged stuff at the house. I don't think I read it to him.
So you had left at that point in your car?
Yes.
Okay.
I got in my car and I went up to Dad's house. And I read him the note, and we made a joke like, hey, if you would have been participating, you wouldn't be worried about some dude parking here. And we're making then jokes, like saying jokes about Joe's house. I'm like, he's probably just pissed because I've peed all over everything on his property. So sucks to be you, the new guy, because I've been everywhere on your property and you're just jealous. Like, I've been inside your house. What do you think about that one?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm on my way home,
mm-hmm.
and then it starts to like
dig on you.
Like,
motherfucker.
Private property, huh? So I paid the $14.95 to pull Nevada County records of property lines and easements.
Oh, there you go. For where you were parked.
For where I was parked, because I also took a picture of where I was parked to send it to Venus. I'm like, this motherfucker. In the moment, I was like, motherfucker thinks I'm on private property. So I have a lovely worded letter about how a gentleman would love to get into litigation with me about illegally towing my vehicle, which wasn't on private property, because there are things about property lines and easements of which I was on neither. And so I'm all staged, but I had to but on my way out of the property, or out of the valley, that caused me to do the extra noodling, was he had then backed his 25-something foot RV. So his property line at that corner by the bridge has like a double wide fence gate, like for access to that chunk of his property that's not his driveway.
Okay.
He had backed an RV up to this gate that was closed, crossing perpendicular to where I was parked so that he could get a trailer out of his property. So as I drive by, he's parked where I was trying to get a trailer out. And then the light bulb goes on. He's bent
Because he was trying to do something.
Of which there was no clue that I would have known.
Yeah.
It wasn't like I looked down and I saw his RV and he was in it and he was coming out and I parked in his spot.
Fuck that guy.
But I was clearly blocking his ability to get his trailer out.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why. And so as I'm getting onto the, as I was getting onto the bridge, I went, is he going to like recognize that the black car that was here is the one that's driving by now? He like opens the door to the RV and he's stepping out and I'm on the bridge and I hear private property, no parking. And I thumb out the window and just gave a thumbs out the window, like a good 20 feet. When the dad stopped by, I'm like, so I have easement stuff, Dad. And if it comes to pass, I'm going to leave a note and the property line easement and all the stuff taped to an envelope, and I'm going to put it right on his gate. Because
fuck you.
You fucked with the wrong bear, dude.
That's fun.
I was like, no.
Yeah,
you can't. Dude, I've been here so long.
Also, guess what? I'm working to help your fucking shit.
That was really essentially what all the guys that like were in the crew were like, if you were helping, like he wouldn't be here if you were participating.
Right.
We wouldn't have to get extra hands from outside. Oh, fuck.
That might have been the moment where I go, and I back up and go, hey, motherfucker.
Right.
Guess what? You know what I mean? And maybe told him
what were you doing today? Is this important you get this out? Is that why you weren't up there? Because I was. And okay, so chainsaws.
Yeah.
We'll go fast.
Yeah.
No one brought a gas-powered chainsaw.
What?
They were all electric-powered chainsaws.
Really?
No name brand.
And where do they get their power from?
Batteries.
Oh.
But like
okay. Like battery operated.
Cordless chainsaws.
Okay.
Not pruning size, 12, 14-inch blades, maybe.
Yeah.
We weren't cutting pie tin size trunks. Maybe palm size, 4 to 5 inches limbs. And certainly a number of tiny limbs. We had 2. So we didn't even touch the battery life of 1. But I'm sold. I mean, just like the electric pruners.
Yeah.
Even the old guys who you would think, oh, you take my 2-stroke away from me. And there was the thing.
Yeah.
Neither of them wanted to deal with that.
Right.
And the bees in the back kind of thing from like a 2-stroke, like always doing the on your hands and how it leaves you numb and shit.
Yeah.
These things cut just as good as a gas-powered, and they were lighter, quieter, easier on the hands, and they did everything. You bring an extra battery, and you're not. He's like, I've never, I've used another battery, but I've never tried to approach a cutting session and went, fuck, I have to come back tomorrow because I've got to charge all my batteries. He's like, I haven't run into it. They're all talking about buying the 16-inch size blade one because they want to just flat out buy extra batteries and do trunk like firewood size cutting. They're moving on.
I have a small Poulon, but it's plug-in.
Yeah.
Electric chainsaw.
Yeah.
And it works great.
It was my first electric
or
cordless chainsaw. Zero problems.
Yeah.
When my dad stopped by, I think on Monday, to hand me back my impact socket, I went, oh, well, the gentleman always, look at you. Now I can put it right back where it goes. He's like, now, by the way, I bought a 1/2-inch impact. We're good to go. And he went, did you now? And I went, fuck yeah, I did.
I got you.
I got you, baby. And then we talked about chainsaws.
Yeah.
And but we were both sold on. He's a DeWalt battery ecosystem.
Yeah.
And DeWalt makes one that is cordless. They have a 60 flex volt and the 20 volt. But I said, if you want to get one, I'm all for it. But get the DeWalt one. Don't get Randy's because, he He's like, oh, because I already have DeWalt batteries. And I went, absolutely.
That's exactly it.
That's why you do it.
Yeah.
Because you've already got the batteries. And
you just move them from thing to thing.
And DeWalt makes one. Like, you could take any of those DeWalt batteries and shuffle them into this fucker and you'd be fine. So.
Does Milwaukee have one?
I would have to believe
because I have Milwaukee batteries. That's what all I'm asking.
I would have to believe they do. If DeWalt has a cordless chainsaw, I would imagine.
I don't use a chainsaw. He has a. I forgot. He has a gas powered one, but I forget what brand it is. Ryobi.
Plus, you don't have to worry about the winterizing, like all of that stuff. Like man, I'm done. It's perfect.
Yeah.
I'm like, yep. I mean, I don't have a need for one either. But if Dad needed assistance in buying one so that it made his life easier, I'd be like, Merry Christmas. And then when you're done with it,
when that tree branch fell out of the tree, New Year's, I got out there with my electric. Chandler ended up coming by. He brought his gas-powered one. First of all, it took him a while to get it started. But by the time he got there and started using his, I had pretty much cut all the stuff with my electric one. It was awesome.
Yeah.
And it cuts really well. It's fast. Not as fast as the gas-powered one. His is way more powerful because he's got throttle.
Right.
But whatever.
Yeah.
Works great. Less filling.
Right.
Tastes great.
Tastes great. Less filling.
Yeah.
Anyway, so cordless chainsaws, I'm sold. Return the cart.
Check your oil, Tony.
Wash your ass.
Wash your hands.
Wear the mask.
Get the shot.
Register to vote.
Return the cart.
Make the call.
Do the kindness.
And we will... Oh, my God. Oh, HDMI, fuck off. And we'll catch you next week.
Thanks for listening, everybody.
Bye.